In this video, I will be giving a presentation on flashcards for study, their benefits, how to use them on a high level, the theory behind it, and yeah, let's take it from there. So in terms of the benefits of flashcard apps, there's lots of them out there. One of my favorite is Quizlet, and they are excellent for revision and enforcement of concepts to learn. It's for any topic or subject matter, so it's quite good with languages, it can be good with science and engineering, business and humanities, any particular subject. I use it myself personally for languages, for keeping up my level of proficiency in various languages. Science and engineering, then you could have it in helping out with formula and so on and so forth. Same with business and humanities. Excellent tool as well for interviews and debates, the ability to anticipate questions, practicing for very clear and concise answers to those without seeming too polished. I found it to be of immense benefit there as well. I suppose looking at the common learning styles that students have, a lot of students tend to rewrite out notes until concept is understood, and then they condense the notes down to manageable levels, brief summary and bullet points, and in that method of learning, it's reinforcing the concepts. Now, one of the things with that is it's not testing your understanding of the subject. So if you're just rewriting out notes, condensing notes down, if you close the book and ask yourself the question of various aspects of the topic, that's the only real way in which you will know whether you know the topic or not. And that's where, with flashcards, especially the electronic software tech flashcards, it provides measured metrics. So it knows when you're using the flashcards to learn a topic, how many flashcards you've got right, how many flashcards you got wrong, and in real time, you can see the progress there. It facilitates micro-study, and you know, in these modern times where everything is mobile and everyone is on the go and so forth, you have the ability to study anytime, anywhere. So if you have the flashcards created, you can install them on your phone, onto your desktop, and in real time use them while waiting in a queue, traveling on a bus, and so on and so forth. So it really does make the most of your time. It's, if you have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, it really captures that for your benefit in learning. So what are they? Well, the flashcard itself, the general format of all electronic flashcards, that is the flashcards on smartphone apps and so forth, they have a front, which is a question, and they have the back, which is the answer. It's very, very straightforward. And in a lot of instances, they have a kind of a rich feature of text, so you can incorporate images and text. In terms of the deck then, so that's a case of building up multiple individual cards. For my particular decks, learning subjects like languages, I could have up to 70 cards per lesson for languages like French or Spanish. Those are the ones that I'm learning and continue to revise. And then you have, I suppose, you have the subject and the module. So the deck is comprised of, as I said, the subject, whatever you're studying. So the subject of Spanish would be obviously Spanish, and so on and so forth. So you'd have a deck, but you could have multiple decks for a subject, but invariably, to keep it simple, you may just have one. Now, in terms of flashcards, especially the electronic ones, it is, well, the written ones as well, it is a two-stage process. So stage one is creating the cards, and the method that I recommend is for each subject, you create a new deck of cards, and you would do this during each class. You would build up for the deck, which which would be for the entire module or class, or sorry, the entire subject module. For each of those classes, you would build up your cards. So for every class, you may see new concepts being presented on the board. You just take a quick note of it and ask a question as you progress. So the lecturer may talk about the River Shannon. So you could write down the River Shannon, and the lecturer may say, okay, there are two major cities on the River Shannon, Limerick City and Carrick-on-Shannon. Again, you could write down the front question, what are the two main cities on the River Shannon? Answer, Limerick and Carrick-on-Shannon, and so on and so forth. So for each class, you could have maybe 5, depending on your efficiency, 5, 10 number of cards. And then as you progress through the module for the academic term, for each lesson, for each lecture that you attend, you're adding new cards with question and answers. So consider it like question and answer based learning. And again, very useful for those in humanities and in the languages and the liberal arts generally. Then stage 2 then is the once you have the cards created, which would be, as I said, over the course of a module or a term, then it's a case of just deploying the cards or using the cards. So you can deploy them onto your phone, onto the desktop and so on. And I suppose in terms of the deck of cards, consider it like a quiz. So it's basically, it's a quiz of constantly testing your knowledge of a subject, your learning, and at the same time it's engaging and it's fun as well. And if you answer the questions truthfully, which is obviously the core aspect of Quizlets, it's no point in flicking the card over, getting it wrong and saying, yes, I got it right. Even though, you know, for some instances, you may find a difficult question that you feel that you keep getting it wrong, but the more you work on it, it's like training in the gym. The more you work on the technique, it'll become committed to memory, and you will build on your knowledge of that subject. So when you answer it truthfully, there's metrics in these particular cards. In other words, they tell you how many you got right and how many you got wrong. And one of the things I enjoy is in the beginning, you're starting off on a topic. You know, it's quite challenging in the beginning to keep the motivation going, but you'd be pleasantly surprised at such a short period of time how much those statistics, those metrics are growing, and how much you can see your statistics and your number of cars that you got right improving. I mean, consider it like driving a car. You're not going to drive a car without the speedometer, without the fuel indicator, and so on and so forth. So that is another aspect of the flashcards to help you. You can see exactly where you are in your journey of learning. So these cards are invariably stored in the cloud. You can just download them onto your phone, and it can be synced to the desktop as well. So as I said, there's multiple different cards out there. One of the applications that I tend to find very useful, in particular in regards to learning languages, concepts, basic snippets, is Quizlets. So to log on, there's a free account, and again, I have no vested interest in this company. I'm not on the payroll and whatnot. It's just my own personal preference of the card from trying them out. You log on to Gmail, Facebook account, and you create your first deck of cards. It's fairly straightforward. And from there, you click on Create to create the deck. Then you enter the title, and then you go through entering each Quizlet term. I think for the first deck, you must add at least 3 before the deck gets saved. And again, then you just download them onto your smartphone. You download the app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, and again you log on with your username, Gmail and password. that is basically it. There is another tool as well, which I use a lot, and that is called Anki. And it's more in depth, it's more complex, but it has a rich number of features as well. It's very good for, I like the fact that you can zoom in with your fingers, and you can go right in, and then you can pinch, and it zooms right out again, the question and answer. It's free as well, but it's again a little bit more complex to learn. So basically that is the end of this presentation on flashcards, and I hope it has been of benefit.